Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ken Poisson. I'm 6th District Councilman and also Town Council Chairman Pro Tem, and I am running this meeting because Council Chairman Jim O'Connor is out of state. So I'd like to call the Monday, April 9th, 2018 meeting of the Stratford Town Council to order at 8:01 p.m. The next item on the agenda is our invocation and pledge of allegiance. Mr. Hardin, I believe it's your turn.
Oh, gracious Father, we thank you for another opportunity to come as a community to do what's right and what's fair. We ask that you grant us courage, serenity, and the will to do right. We also thank you for the lives of those who are with us, and we send prayers to the ones that we have lost over the time. And this we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from our March 12th meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved by Dave Hardin.
Motion by Mr. Hardin, second by Mr. Pia. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries unanimously. Item number 2 is ceremonial presentations and awards. And at this time, I'd like to call up Don Masso and Paul DeVito from the Booth Park Train Museum. And if Mrs. Mayor would join me up front, please. You can speak right here.
Members of the Town Council, Mr. Chairman, Madam Mayor, thank you for this opportunity. And my wife excoriated me about being brief here this evening. Several of you know me, and we've been involved in many activities. And, you know, there's a lot of great things going on here in Stratford, and we had started with Mayor Harkins being a huge supporter of the Booth Memorial Railway Museum. And Mayor Harkins has followed in his footsteps, and got to thank Laura also for when she was a state rep, was a huge impetus to us when we were given the go-ahead to build our Garden Railroad, which we're in the midst of completing. But we wanted to present to Town Council. We were featured in Classic Toy Train magazines a couple of summers ago as a destination, a vacation destination for hobbyists and enthusiasts to come and visit. So we were very, very happy that they were able to do so. And as to memorialize it, we had a plaque made, and we'd like to present it to the town. Hopefully it'll find a place in one of the hallways here as to be shown and enjoyed by others, and get people to come on up and see us. So on behalf of the officers and members of the Booth Memorial Railway Society, we'd like to make this presentation to you, Madam Mayor, Mr. Poisson, and members of the council on behalf of the BMRS.
Thank you. And we were also in a Classic Connecticut magazine in January issue. We will be making another plaque similar to that one.
All right.
Okay, item 3.1.1 is letters of recommendation. The town council received two letters of recommendation, one from David Salick from the Waterfront and Harbor Management Commission, and one from Kim Chu Kadim from the Library Board. Item 4 is the mayor's report, committee reports, town attorney's report. 4.1 is the mayor's report. Mrs. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mayor's report for April 9, 2018. It's not working. I don't think that. Oops. Thank you, Ken. So as members of the council are aware that I submitted an annual budget proposal on March 12th, and since then the council and its subcommittees have been performing their due diligence in reviewing the budget proposal. My staff and I are available to help them at any time for their review, and I want to thank the members of the town council for the work they're putting into ensuring the best possible budget is put forth for the residents of Stratford, and for the very professional manner in which these proceedings have been held. I look forward to the 2 public forums the council intends to hold, which will allow the public comment and questions on the ultimate passage of the town budget in a timely fashion before our deadline of May 12th. Route 110 Main Street realignment at the intersection of Sikorsky entrance. I'm pleased that we are moving forward to resolve a decades-old traffic congestion problem along Route 110 in front of Sikorsky Gate of the aircraft. Anyone who has tried to navigate this intersection during rush hour is well aware of the gridlock and lengthy accident history there. This project represents an excellent collaborative between the state and local officials as well as private business to make this a reality. The State Bond Commission approved a $1.5 million grant in February for this project, and now State DOT has the go-ahead to this project to realign the intersection, while Sikorsky paid for the realignment of their factory gate with Roanoke Lane. The necessary agreements will be coming before this council, and with construction anticipated to begin before the summer and conclude before the end of the year. El Grasso Pool. As you know, through the administration, we have been working in concert with state officials at DAS, Department of Administrative Services, Department of Developmental Disabilities, and the Office of Policy Management and our state legislative delegation to secure the transfer of the property associated with the former El Grasso Center from the state of Connecticut to the town of Stratford. Prior to the conveyance execution, the town has entered into a lease agreement with the state of Connecticut to use the handicap-accessible pool and open the facility to our residents. We anticipate a grand opening for the pool to be by the end of April. On St. Patrick's Day, we had our festivities at Town Hall. In the continued tradition, we had the festivities on Friday, March 16th. We raised the Irish flag outside of Town Hall, had the naming of the Irish mayor. For the day, it was Colleen Kelleher, as well as naming of the first leprechaun of the day, which is Colleen's son, Brady Kelleher. Once again, we had much anticipated Irish soda bread competition, which was won this year by 7-year-old May Schneider, the youngest winner in history. It was the St. Patrick's Day for children in Stratford. In enjoying the observation of St. Patrick's Day, we also recognize the contribution of that of the Irish immigrants to the United States that have made our nation state and to our town of Stratford. During the address to the business community, which was Monday, March 26th, I delivered an address including to our businesses and Stratford Chamber of Commerce, and it was held at Pisano's Four Seasons restaurant. The prime areas of focus were economic development and redevelopment, taxes, services, and a variety of other issues. Those that are interested in the remarks can see them on the town website at townofstratford.com under the Mayor's Office section. Recognizing Bridgeport Hospital Emergency Room on March 27th, I was joined by Councilor David Harden, our 4th District, Councilor Bill O'Brien of the 9th District, and other local officials and town staff in presenting citations to 3 great people in the emergency room at Bridgeport Hospital in recognition for their service to Stratford. Special thanks goes out to Doug Latham, Medical Director of Fairfield County EMS, Emergency Room Nurse Marquita Stevens, and Emergency Room Quality Care Coordinator Shelley Ann Dooling. They were among the many great staff at the emergency room, always on hand, saving the lives of Stratford residents in our hour of need. And special thanks out goes to Councilor Harden for bringing this to our attention. Thank you, David. Realtors Breakfast on Thursday, April 5th. The town of Stratford hosted a Stratford Residential Realtors Breakfast at Riverview Bistro. They are the people that sell the town. And the presentation was organized by our Economic Development Department, and we discussed the positives of the Stratford community and why investing in a house in our town is a great investment for people's future. I was joined by Superintendent Janet Robinson, Mary Dean and Amy Knorr from Economic and Community Development, Andrea Bossavain, Health Director, Fire Chief Bob McGrath, Public Safety Director Larry Ciccarelli, Deputy Chief and Fire Marshal Brian Lamport, and Chief Joe McNeil. Last Wednesday, I was honored and privileged to join the fire department in the swearing in of new firefighters and giving out firefighting awards. It was an annual ceremony, and we swore in nine of new firefighters in service to our town. We recognized a number of firefighters who had reached 10 years and 20 years of service milestones, and to thank those who had singled out distinguishing service to themselves and our community over the prior year for having gone above and beyond their service of duty. I was honored to play a part in this meaningful ceremony that recognizes the service and dedications of our town's fire department. Restaurant Week. While you wouldn't know it by the weather, spring has arrived, and with it is the first year's Celebrate Stratford Festival and the start of Restaurant Week, which will showcase many restaurants located throughout Stratford and starts on April 22nd and goes through April 28th. A list of participating restaurants and their menus are available online at townofstratford.com/Restaurant Week. I encourage our residents to take advantage of the bargain prices to explore all the great restaurants we have and that our town has to offer. Project Green Sweep and the Housatonic River Cleanup. Also with spring and the receding snow comes the realization of a lot of trash and litter and refuse that's been discarded all over the main roadways and some of town residential areas. So it's time to get our town cleaned up for spring. Our Public Works Department has been hard at work at cleaning up town-owned location and working in concert with the state DOT to get our roadways under control. This year, we are holding the annual Green Sweep Project and the Housatonic River Cleanup events. We are seeking community volunteers throughout town to help out on April 21st, which is a Saturday, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., and giving as much time as you can. Volunteers can be any age, group, or organizations are welcome. Volunteers will meet and sign up at the Bird's Eye Boat Ramp and receive free cleanup logo t-shirt and will be provided garbage bags and work gloves. Volunteers should be dressed for the outdoors, and volunteers willing to use their pickup trucks or boats we will be especially grateful. Those interested can call the number online or email hrcuteam@gmail.com for more information. And then last but not least, Stratford Public Safety Communications Center is celebrating National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. God, I can't say that 5 times fast. The Stratford Public Safety Communications enter into celebrating the second full week of April 8th through the 14th, as National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Sponsored by the Association of Public Safety Communications Officials, the week focuses on honoring the thousands of men and women who respond to our emergency calls, dispatch emergency professionals, and render life-saving assistance. Our own dispatch center, which dispatches police, fire, and EMS to over 40,000 calls per year and field about 128,000 inbound calls per year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I am pleased to recognize the great professionals at our Public Safety Communications Center and will be issuing a proclamation recognizing their critical contributions to the safety of our town citizens. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mrs. Hoydick. Mayor Hoydick. 4.2 is questions for the mayor. Does anybody have any questions for the mayor? Mr. O'Brien.
Just a comment. No, I just want to thank you for continuing Mayor Harkin's tradition of the Veterans Breakfast and remind all veterans to register online or by calling Chris Bandecki. It's going to be on May 24th this year. Thank you.
Mr. Kadim.
Thank you, thank you. Mayor, I just want to say it was a beautiful ceremony that they had for you, the business community represented. It was really wonderful. Your speech was right on target, and your vision towards the town is amazing. So I just want to say thank you for inviting us, all that came, and thank you for doing what you do.
Any other questions for the mayor? Okay, 4.3 is committee reports. 4.3.1 is the EMS funding committee. There'll be no action on that. 4.3.2 is the public safety committee, and 2 ordinances were forwarded back to the town council from the ordinance committee. The first one was 4.3.3.1. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that the ordinance regarding the applicability of traffic laws to the operation of bicycles be accepted.
Okay, that you'd be approved?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Mr. Perillo.
Mr. Chairman, the correct motion should be to dispense with the second reading of that ordinance, and then that it be approved.
So has that been taken care of now, or should she read that
Right.
part?
As long as she adopts that as part of her motion.
Yes, I would like to dispense with the second reading of the ordinance.
Okay, Mr. Perillo, you second that? Is there any discussion? Mr. Floor.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. 2 things. First of all, if you look at the ordinance as printed, it does not have any numeration. We'll take care of that when it goes over to the code people for codification. It will be, it's going to appear as section 203-30 through 36 of the code. Second point is that Chief McNeil and the police department are expecting, with the oncoming nicer spring weather, that this ordinance is going to be important, and that there are going to be situations where they will have to use it. As a result, they are requesting that the effective date of this ordinance does not take 30 days as per the charter, but that it be declared an emergency situation, and that it go into effect immediately upon your passage. Now, in order to do that, you can, pursuant to the charter, do that and declare it an emergency situation. It requires 7 votes, but that I'm just passing that along as a request from the police department.
Is there any further discussion?
After they pass it, then they'll make the second motion.
Oh.
Okay, hearing no further discussion. This is an ordinance, so it's a roll call vote. We'll start with District 1. Mr. Pia.
Aye.
Mr. Ticky.
Aye.
Mr. Kadim. Mr. Harden.
Aye.
Mr. Khan. Mr. Perillo. Mr. O'Brien. Mrs. Dancho.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion is approved, 9-0.
Mr. Chairman, does that include the portion that it is an emergency?
I didn't hear anybody make a motion for that.
I would like to make the motion that this ordinance be declared an emergency and take effect immediately upon our vote.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pia. Is there any discussion? Mr. O'Brien.
I just hope, as was discussed at the ordinance committee meeting, that the police department will do a lot in the way of education for the students.
I believe that was made very clear at ordinance. I agree. Mr. Kadim.
Just to echo the sentiment, it's important to know, I understand what's been going on. I've been privy to know what's happening with the children and what they're doing up there, and it kind of affects the the people that live in that district. I just pray that it doesn't hurt the people that have less that get caught in the same web. So I just want to make sure that I go on record that I'm concerned about that. But I do recognize the importance of it.
Right, and that was also made pretty clear at the ordinance committee, if I recall correctly. Any further discussion? Is this also a roll call?
It really doesn't have to be a roll call because you already approved the ordinance. This is just to declare the ordinance an emergency and have it go into effect immediately.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries 9-0. Okay, 4.3.3.2.
Mr. Chairman, I'm making a motion to approve item 4.3.3.2, ordinance regarding prohibition of block in the box, number 18-05.
And that the second reading be dispensed
And the
with.
second reading be dispensed with.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Harden. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Flork.
Again, we'll handle the numeration of the paragraphs for the code, but there is one thing that's got to be filled in. If you turn to page 12 on your agenda, you will see item C sets forth designated intersections within the town of Stratford. I would like you to add to your motion that there are 3 designated intersections. One is Main Street at Orinoco Lane. The second is Main Street at Sikorsky Aircraft Gate. And the third is Main Street at Route 15, Exit 53 off-ramp. Those are the 3 designated intersections that the police department would like this ordinance to pertain to.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Attorney Fleur. Is there any further discussion? Yes. Mr. Kadim.
Same concern, just concerned about those who can't afford to pay to getting stuck in the box. I'm concerned about them, and hopefully there's some leniency for those who do get stuck, who cannot afford to pay whatever the sum is. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, this is also an ordinance, so we'll do a roll call vote again. Mr. Pia?
Aye.
Mr. Tiki?
Aye.
Mr. Kadim? Mr. Harden? Mr. Khan? Mr. Perillo? Mr. O'Brien? Mrs. Dancho?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 9-0. Okay, item 4.3.4 is Building Needs Committee. The Building Needs Committee met on March 19th and referred the following item to the Town Council with a favorable recommendation. This is for the Turner Construction Company in the amount of $338,745 to create an allowance for summer work to be done in a timely manner as they really work on Stratford High over the summer. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve item 4.3.4.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kadim. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries 9-0. Item 4.4 is the Town Attorney's Report.
Our only item this evening is a matter that would require executive session.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the strategy and negotiations with respect to pending litigation involving Lydia Bellman and the town. The persons in attendance shall be the members of the Town Council, Town Attorney Christopher Hodgson, Assistant Town Attorneys Leclerc and Florek, Mayor Laura Hoydick, Chief Administrative Officer Christopher Timniak, Human Resources Director Ron Ing, and Finance Director Jay Wahlberg.
Second.
Is there a second? By Mr. Kadim. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 9-0. The Town Council will go into executive session at 8:26 p.m.